Welcome back, dear friends. Welcome back to the thing that never ends. Thank you so very much. Repeatedly, I ask you for your benevolence and for you to accept my sincere thanks for you joining us this day. It's a very hot day. It's going to be very hot. Everybody's talking about how hot it is. But growing up in Florida, it doesn't mean anything. This is really not much. What is hot is what is happening in the world, what this poses to geopolitical futures of the like, to the futures, to the treasure, to the plan of one Mr. Vance and others. How do you believe the president is doing? What do you think about this event right now? Do you feel like this is good? Are we in a good place? What do you think about your country? How do you think we have acted regarding this event? I just put out a brand new email. I hope you are subscribed to the email. Make sure you are, because we have a lot to discuss, because it is not what you think it is. There are people who are so afraid to say anything about daring to not be in complete and total a love trance with the president. I don't know why that is. They feel like they can't critique or criticize or say anything about the president or what he's doing, and they must be absolutely in love and enraptured by this event, this thing that we're doing, this whatever this move is that involves the association with Israel. What are they doing? Do you believe any of the battle assessments? Do you believe? Are you reading all of the contradictions as to what was actually affected, what was hit, what was brought down or affected? My friends, it is beyond anything anybody even thought possible. I have a very sneaky suspicion that what happened, or what claims to have happened, didn't happen. It didn't happen. And it depends upon you to understand what that means and to follow up. Nobody is going to give you the truth, my friends, and you look for it. Nobody's going to tell you. You're going to have to sift through this. Go to your X account, go and find out for yourself. Because who was it today? In today's New York Post, Miranda Devine left this glowing, this absolutely, I mean, it was the genius, the military genius of Trump. I'm thinking, what? What military genius? What are we talking about? Because I'm not sure what happened, if anything. And that's what you and I need to discuss. All right, dear friends, so sit back. Make sure you are subscribed to Lionel Nation. Make sure you are a part of this thing of ours. Make sure you weigh in. We want to hear from you and your thoughts, no matter how inane, insane, germane, or did I say inane, insane, germane? Inane. In any event, before we begin, my friends, listen very carefully to this important word from our important sponsor. Copper inventories are scraping 15-year lows, just as Washington floats import tariffs. The U.S. growth machine runs on metal it barely controls. Every EV line, data center build, and power grid upgrade risks choking on supply gaps. Cost spike, project stall, investors eat the squeeze. Miss the window, and you're funding someone else's margin. Giant Mining Corp's Majuba Hill District in Nevada is built for this moment. 9,800 acres with highway, rail, power, gas, and fiber already on the claims. Recent core drilling sliced a 170-foot zone averaging 0.4% copper, crowned by a 10-foot streak at 4.4. Grades majors pay billions for. An AI-driven model just lit up new conductors, and independent engineers are already building resource estimates while rivals drown in red tape. Phase 2 rigs roll this quarter. Speed wins the super cycle, and Majuba is built for speed. Dig deeper at giantminingcorp.com, on the OTC at BFGFF in the US and BFG in Canada. Now, my friends, my point is, and I say this again to you with all due respect and out of an abundance of love and all of that stuff, you have to look elsewhere. You can't listen to what you are hearing, and you can't go by what the mainstream media and specifically cable news are telling you. It is that simple. Absolutely simple. Now, one thing that we ask you is we have to ask you to do this. If you want to be a part of our little live chat, and we encourage you to join us and to weigh in with your thoughts and comments, please do me a favor and remember that you have to write incomplete sentences. And also understand that when you say LOL, ha ha ha, no way, yes, we don't know what that means because there's a bit of a delay and you might be referring to something else. So try your best to reference that which is the most cogent. Pilgrim Media, always cognizant of that writes, insane in the membrane, insane in the brain. Again, the absolute ribaldry, the hysteria. Understand what this means. Because I don't. Remember, there is never a time that is inappropriate for a pun, a rock reference, a music reference, anything to show detachment from the immediate issue right now. Thank you so much for that. Remember, if you think you are remotely hysterically funny by virtue of what you're saying, you are probably even more so. The fact that you... What is happening to this world now? Where are you getting your news from now? Where are you getting it? Where? Look at this. Someone writes, delete tariffs. Why? What are tariffs doing that are wrong? Tariffs, do you think tariffs make any wrong? What? Tariffs, believe it or not, may actually be effective. But when people say this, why do they? What does this mean? The question first is, do you believe anything that actually occurred? Do you believe? Let's just go through this. Let's go through this. I still think that X is the... I'm getting away from the Twitter thing. X is the only place to go to find up-to-the-minute reviews of what is happening, to really get in on it, to really get a grasp of what's happening. Look at this. Riemann says unemployment. Again, what does that mean? I don't know. It's one word. You can write crime, pestilence, dementia, depression. What does this mean? I don't know. It's one word. You figure it out. You see, this is why it's important that we write in sentences, not just for me, so that other people can look at this later on and say, "Oh, I see what's happening." Let's go through this. And we go through this all the time. People will do this, and it's not just you. People think that for somehow you're reading something and you might say, and of course nobody knows what you're talking about. Doesn't really matter. Now, let's go through this. Let's look at X, shall we? Let's look at X, and let's look at what they are saying. Let me give you some interesting positions here, which I find fascinating, beyond fascinating. I believe it is fascinating. I believe this. I'm going to go through. This is something which is interesting. These fellers, there's a place, I believe, oh yes, Health Ranger. Did you hear this? This is some of the most interesting stuff there is. I found this to be very interesting. One of the interesting folks I'm finding, and maybe you're finding this as well. First, whatever your positions are, whatever your thoughts are, they should not be based upon whom you like. You might not like. I might not like somebody. I might not like. I don't know who it is. Somebody I might not like. I may not like. Candace Owens. I might not like somebody. That doesn't do anything. Sometimes people write some very good things. Matt Gaetz writes some incredible stuff. He is really saying some wonderful things, along with Steve Bannon. Both of them, as you know, in the past, I haven't been necessarily fans of what they said, but this time I believe they are 100% spot on. And one of the things which is interesting is there are folks, here we go. Candace Owens writes, remember when neocons told you to do your patriotic duty and roll up your sleeves for the vaccine because it would be totally safe, and us conspiracy theorists said don't do it? Yeah, it's about that time again. Except this time they're telling you about war and selling war, and it's not going to keep you safe. So please don't be retarded. This is it. Okay? Now, yes, that's true to an extent. Yeah, that's good. Now, there's also a problem that people are having, and there are fissures and groups of people who are angry with each other. And one of them had, there is this position, there is this belief, whatever, that this is about Israel. That Israel posts the problem. Israel. Do you think that the problem is Israel? Let's think about this. I want to spend some time with you analyzing this. Do you believe the issue is Israel? Do you? Do you believe that's the problem? Yes or no? If it is the problem, the question should be, do you think following Israel is the problem? Do you believe listening to Israel is the problem? Israel's not doing anything wrong. Israel has its own particular mindset, its own way of thinking. When I say Israel, I really mean Bibi Netanyahu. It's not them. It's us. It's we. It is President Trump. Why do you believe? Why are you of the opinion that people are listening to Israel, as we say? What is the reason for that? The next question is, does Iran pose any type of threat to us? What is going to happen to J.D. Vance? Will Vance's 2028 run ignite a global firestorm? What about Tulsi? How does he reconcile this with Palantir? Does this make any sense? These are the questions I want to know. I am suggesting to you the following. Number one, there are many, many ways for us to deal with stuff. First and foremost, let me say this very, very clearly. Do not tell me that we are to go to war, that we are to bomb a sovereign country because they've said bad things about us. Okay? Let us not, let me say this again, go to war. And people are saying this because Iran has said things like death to America, F you America, poopy pants, we hate you, we will kill you, we don't recognize you, we want to see you dead, we don't recognize you. Okay, all right. War? No. Do you hear what I just said? War? No. Should we go after them? Maybe. You understand this? Maybe. Chris says, Candace Owens is wonderful, giving out truth and facts. Yes, but she's a little childish. She gets her feelings hurt. She's bitchy. She's nasty. She's a little petulant. She's like a smart alecky adolescent. She's got a lot of baggage herself. What she's saying, I think, is correct, but her thing is she's nasty. And you love when she's nasty. Laura Loomer, nasty. I respect what they're doing, but there is a style. And the style goes to show you, oh, okay, I see what this is. The style tells you everything. Pilgrim says, In the Air Force, above all things, the mission comes first. Indeed. Sal Angelo writes, haven't they chanted death to America for the past 75 years? Indeed they have, sir. And not only have they done that, but other countries. And we've said that. Candace Owens said that. Candace Owens says that Brigitte Macron is a man. Is a man. And if France says, we're going to bomb you, say, excuse me, you're going to what? We're going to bomb you. What? Well, you said Brigitte Macron is a man. We didn't say that. Candace Owens said that. Doesn't matter. We're going to say you said that. Let me say this. It's bullshit if you think that we should bomb, violate the Constitution, War Powers Act, everything, just because, and this is important, because somebody somewhere said death to America, death to Israel. Have I made myself clear? That ain't it. Don't waste my time with that. That won't cut it. For years, they've been calling for, so what? Now, your follow-up question should be, well, what do you think we should do? We can do a lot of stuff. We can do a lot of stuff to tell these people exactly what we think. We can do a lot of things. A lot of things. We can do clandestine, black bag, black ops, sanctions, jamming. Yeah. We can do a lot of things. We say, oh, that wasn't us. Oh, we can get them. I never said don't get them. I think it's a good idea to tone down that rhetoric. I don't think that rhetoric should get out of control. You have a problem with that? I don't have a problem with that. But I think what we should do is we should do it very, very carefully, very, very parsimoniously, and very, very intelligently, and go after these people lucidly for reasons I don't understand why we're not. So let me say this again, because people miss the point. I've heard this. On WABC and others will call people and say, you don't understand. They call for the death to America. So what? What? That's not you don't go to war for that. I don't risk World War III because somebody said something about it. Do you know what we've said about Russia? China? And I don't mean I mean what Trump has said, what this country has said. Oh my God. You got to be kidding me. It's unbelievable. They were actually so that's not a reason. What I am saying that if you do want to get them, there might be a reason other than this which makes sense. So what I'm telling you is that let's eliminate that right off the bat, okay? Number 2, and this is important. If Iran eventually enriches uranium, has fissile material, violates treaties, bans, whatever it is, I'm not saying don't enforce it, don't put pressure on them, don't force allies, do it the diplomatic way. Absolutely, go after it. Do we all agree that the worst thing that ever happened was any country having the nuclear bomb? Does that make any sense to you? Does that make any sense to you? The worst thing that ever happened is we having a nuclear bomb. Do you understand that? Does this make any sense? The worst thing ever. The worst thing ever. Does this tell me that you believe. Tell me that you're listening to me, dear friend. Tell me that you're listening to me. The worst thing that ever happened was for mankind to get a nuclear weapon. Not nuclear energy, not the ability to harness this, but a nuclear weapon. The difference between an atom bomb and a hydrogen bomb is that a hydrogen bomb is via fusion and does not involve radiation, as in the case of an atom bomb. Have you ever heard that one? Has anybody ever told you this one? Have we ever discussed this one? Because we need to get some You understand this? This is important. And this is one of those things which is important to understand. In fact, of all people, who was it? Mr. Neil deGrasse Tyson went through this. I can't necessarily go through and I can't go back and change things, but I think we'd be better off as a society without an atom bomb. I think we would be. I think we'd be a lot better off. Call me wacky. I think we'd be a lot better off. Pilgrim says, read Shia versus Sunni will be read Shia versus Sunni will be eye-opening. Read it. I don't know what that means. Read Shia. There is a difference, Shia versus Sunnis and that sort of thing. They are different, but I don't think that's it. Again, I'm not sure what that means, but I thank you for that. Let me see if we can go through this, because I don't think people get it. I don't think people are grasping it. I don't think people truly understand what's going on. I really don't. We're not going to be able to change what happened. We're not going to be able to change. But you don't bomb things just because somebody somewhere might be violating it. The only reason, were it not for Israel, were it not for, I don't want to keep saying AIPAC because I think that throws us off, but were it not for Bibi, we wouldn't, there would be no bombing. We wouldn't be risking Americans flying over. I don't care what anybody says. Anybody who flies over a country and drops a bomb, if they did, and we'll get to this in a moment, risks American lives, and I don't know if that's worth our time. I don't know whether that is worth our time. I really don't. I don't understand what the purpose of that is. So we've got to understand it. And when you have Mark Levin, who introduces the president as being our first Jewish president. Okay, I can dig that. When you have Bibi saying, thank you, Mr. President. Israel thanks you. Thank you for this. It's almost like saying, you did this for us. You did this. How are we getting around this fact? Now, I'm not saying that is in and of itself a problem. We may share interests with this. I'm not one of those folks. But unlike Candace Owens, who is filled with rage, and the craziest one, she's right. Because sometimes, remember the old expression, sure, they're crazy, but what if they're right? This Anna Kasparian is out of her mind. She shows an anger, a level of anger that is off the charts. She can't control rage. It's like nothing I've ever, I can't believe it. I can't believe the rage. She just, these are children. These are children, a lot of people who are enjoying the limelight and who confuse anger and screaming and yelling and hatred. You don't have to hate Israel. You don't have to hate and see them bare your teeth. I don't hate anybody. I don't care whether Israel is a Zionist country or not. It doesn't matter to me. I don't care. The same thing with NATO. I don't hate anybody. But NATO has apparently an interest that has nothing to do with this country. And they want us to go to war with Russia. And that is the most stupid thing anybody has ever seen. And they use that idiot Zelensky in this one. So I think we know this. So when you remember something, this is important. When you say things, when you say that you're against war, that has really nothing to do. By the way, war should be the last result, the last aspect of it. When you realize this, you become a mature adult. There's a lot of folks out there who are not very mature. They scream and they yell and whatever. There are other folks you have to understand that love war. They love war. Pilgrim says, our foot is on Iran's neck and war is here. Yeah. Let me go to that one. Do you believe that the 3 sites mentioned, with Natanz, Fodor, and the third one, actually, Iftanzul or whatever, do you believe that they were destroyed? I don't know if I think we need to verify that one. I think we might need to verify that. I don't know. I don't know if that's true. I'm not sure about that. I don't know if that's true. Some people are showing battle. I don't know if these pictures are real, but some people are saying, no, we don't know whether this truly occurred. Iran is saying, no. And what do you think J.D. Vance is doing in this? Let me change this. Do you think J.D. Vance, where is he in this whole thing? He's kind of like, and do you think Tulsi Gabbard, should Tulsi step down? I think so. She's been emasculated. Pilgrim says, Sir Lionel, I'm completely on your page. Indeed, sir. Well, what I'm saying is, I'm not buying. I need to see a little bit more of this. Americans can be told anything. We can be told that Iran as a country was wiped off the map, and people will believe it. Miranda Devine, others, who these sycophantic bootlickers, these absolute obsequious, fawning Trump, and I love Trump, but they go out of their way to say he's the most brilliant, he's a genius, and okay, take it easy. Maybe he might be, but I don't know. Maybe she was happy because she had her podcast and he appeared. I don't know. Who knows? But we can't violate the law. It is unconstitutional. It is against the law for us to attack a country, anybody, without going through the proper chain of command. Constitutional, either having Congress declare a war or War Powers Act, which might be unconstitutional, something. In this case, the president just said, I'm doing it. Now, the same people, the people who all of a sudden hate what President Trump is doing, like AOC rather, they loved it when Biden did it regarding Ukraine. She loved it. Others loved it. So they're hypocrites. We don't really care one way or the other. So recognize this fact. This is one of the most critical points I can possibly say to you. And this is important. I don't know what was attacked. I don't know what was affected. I don't know what J.D. Vance in 2020. Remember, this is his show. 2028, he's positioning. He has got to lead. He has got to come ahead or move to the front. And Trump's not going to let him do that. Hell no. Bradley says atomic bomb, birth control, AI, the 3 horsemen of World War III. Yes, we're in it. Order versus chaos, and bucko, chaos is winning. Atomic bomb, birth control, AI, the 3 horsemen of World War III. Birth control? AI, I understand that. The birth control is the 3 horsemen of what? I'm not sure about birth control. That's a new one on me. I'm not really sure what that means, but thank you. Birth control? Are you saying they are birth control? Again, I think this is. I apologize. Sometimes I just don't understand things. So stupidly, I can't necessarily interpret things as easily as I wish I could. I don't understand these things. But here is the bottom line. This is what's critical. More than anything else, we have to ask ourselves, what do we do next in this? What do we do next in this venture? And that's what's critical. We have to ask ourselves, all right, now that we've got this out of the way, that's it. Declare victory, say, that's it. We took out the evil Satan or whatever they're called, and move on, little doggy. Move on. put this behind us. Tell Bibi that's it. Because here's the problem. Medvedev and Pakistan and others are saying, we will give you your weapons. We will give you nuclear weapons. We will do it. We will give you nuclear weapons. Iran, you want them? We'll give them to you. Hey, that's great. Now, does that violate some government? Maybe. Does that violate a treaty? Maybe. I'm not that conversant. Do you think that maybe in that particular respect that it might be a good idea to have inspectors? Maybe, perhaps. Is anybody going to allow inspectors? I don't know. What do we do when we have, in essence, solidified, we have invigorated, we have empowered the people that we're supposedly trying to dissuade? What do you think we are supposed to do? This is important. This is critical. What do you think should be our move? What do you think should be our move? What should be our collective, how do I say this? Our take. Well, one thing is we don't want to end up attacking somebody and then having them even more empowered by awakening the sleeping giant. Remember, this is what Hirohito did. Remember what Japan did. It was the worst thing they ever did in their life, if you believe the particular narrative. So that's that. So now that we're moving that out of the way, we have to move on to other issues. Where's Elon? What is happening here domestically? What is happening to the rest of our matters? Oh, and by the by, what do you think is going to happen? And nobody's even remotely discussing this. To Gaza after everything is done. What do you think is going to happen? What do you think is the next move? What do you think will be, this is important, the next storyline there? What is happening with the rest of the world, with MBS, with Saudi Arabia? What happens? You ready for this, my friends? What happens if, and this is important, what happens if there is a ship that is shuttered, scuttled in the Strait of Hormuz? What happens then? Anybody? What do you think is going to happen? Wait until that, and I hope it doesn't. By the way, I'm not one of these people who says, God, I can't wait. I'm telling you, and then who wants a prediction to take place. I don't want it to take place. All I hope is that for the love of God that we stop this nonsense. And that's enough. Get back to what's going on right now. We're very afraid if the Strait of Hormuz, if this becomes a problem, this will wreak havoc on President Trump's domestic policy, especially trying to rein in inflation. You don't want that happening. Not only that, that's a Strait of Hormuz. You have to see this incredible between Oman and Iran right there. This very precise little weird angle where you need boats to negotiate these turns. It's very tricky. And it's been always the choke point for oil commerce and the like. And then later on, don't forget our friends, the Houthis. Do you think they're going anywhere? So anyway, we'll just leave this away. All in all, let us hope, let us pray. The president puts this aside and says, let's get back to business. Let's fight crime. Let's fight still all of the individuals who are still in our country, who illegally entered, who have not been removed. We have not been, I don't know where Tom Homan is. We were getting rid of them like mad at first. And then we kind of we're not really talking about it anymore. I'm assuming we're still doing it. That remains critical. We have to go over infrastructure. I don't know about you, but I have been finding on various roads, maybe different where you are, potholes that are like, not even potholes, are like minefields. We need to worry about stupid things that really affect me more than anything else. And not fissile material in Iran. That doesn't affect me in the least. It doesn't at all. There are more bombs in the world than you could possibly imagine. And for some reason, it's because of the horror of that keeps people from using them. What I worry about in that regard is a tactical nuclear weapon, a smaller yield, smaller, less powerful, but nonetheless psychologically explosive, bad pun, and the like. I also want to know, I want you to keep in mind something. I want you to watch what's happening. The left is not going anywhere. Who's watching them? We have this Zoran Mamdani, this case. We have this fellow, Zoran, and he is running for mayor of New York City, and he's going to win. And in the latest poll, they're showing he's going to clobber Andrew Cuomo. Bill Clinton came out and endorsed Andrew Cuomo because everybody realizes this guy, Zoran, is the scariest thing you've ever seen. And he's perfect. And if he can run the biggest city in the nation, it will empower the left like you can't believe. You don't want this to happen. You might not be able to do anything about it. You might not be able to affect it, but it is huge. I wish that a lot of the big money folks who were coming out in droves arguing against the, quote, anti-Semitic speech of people at campuses would put their money against him, because this guy, if you're worried about anti-Semitic rhetoric, this guy is your nightmare. Nightmare. You hear what I'm saying? Nightmare. You don't want this fellow to win. The left is not going anywhere. Anywhere. How about all these people that were having their deportations reviewed? What about lawfare? What about all those folks? All of those people, all of those judges, all of those courts, everybody, this entrenched, they have been waiting for this. We have so much to worry about here in this country. And instead, we've been focused on bombs and not J-dams, but bunker busters and Moabs and all this other kind of stuff. We have to think about America. America first. It's not just an expression. It's a directive. It's a mandate. We don't have all the time and resources in the world. We don't have it. It is critical right now. I say to you, critical, that everybody understand this is something which is so huge, it's so powerful. I'm not saying it just to be mean. It's got to be America first. We have to worry about us first. Would you like to see that? I'm telling you, the left that you call the left is not what I'm worried about. It's the power behind it. Those individuals who fancy themselves, how do I say this? Those individuals who are 100% focused on derailing this country. There are people out there who think it is positive in sport to do anything in their power to destroy this country. They're not going to say it. They're not going to say, oh, no, we're not trying to destroy this country. Yes, they are. And there are people that you know. There are people that I know who go out all of a sudden and they march against Trump. The no kings moment. They sit back and they look the other way. They don't mind when Antifa and other folks unleash their domestic terror on this country. They are the problem. They are the biggest problem in the world. I'm also going to say something to you, my friend, one more time. And this is the most important. This is the most important and critical news, I should say. I have been talking about for the longest time, since we first met, this notion about emergency supplies and the like. Prepping, as they say, preparing, being aware, being able to withstand long periods of time of interruption in supply chains, interruptions in the usual course of commerce that we enjoy. They are absolutely selling products. People are preparing this and spending money hand over fist. because they recognize what's happening. Listen carefully to this critical word. Let me ask you a question. What happens when the trucks stop? Think about this. Trucks, the trucks that bring your food, and then when one store closes because of a riot or ransomware hit or a hurricane or even manufactured weather. Oh yeah, we've talked about that. What happens when all of a sudden, suddenly, the entire supply chain collapses like dominoes? What happens then? We've seen it happen, and it doesn't take much. And that's the thing you've got to think about. A trucker strike, a cyber attack, some EMP, some Carrington class disaster, a city shut down by violence. It only takes one spark for shelves to go empty fast. And when that happens, and when that moment hits, you either have what you need or you don't. And that's why I am telling you, I want you to go to preparewithlionel.com. Our trusted friends at My Patriot Supply, they're offering unbelievable deals right now. You've got to see deals on emergency food kits that could save your life and your sanity. Over 2,000 calories per day. For 3 months of food per person, shelf stable for 25 years, in any kind of combinations you want, and made to taste like actual meals, not cardboard, not some military MRE. These kits aren't just insurance, they're peace of mind. So go to preparewithlionel.com, secure your kit, secure your future. Preparewithlionel.com, preparewithlionel.com, because when the world breaks down, the prepared don't panic. There was a piece which is very interesting, and I want to explain something to you. How sometimes people shift. And they will shift, and then they will tell you, there's a reason for what I shifted, or why I shifted, or I didn't shift. I'm not in any way acting inconsistent. You don't understand. You've got it all wrong there. Let me give you one which is very interesting. As you know, there's some fascinating people. Candace Owens and this and Tucker and Laura Loomer. And I respect anybody who gets out and says something. And by virtue of their power, by virtue of what they're doing, they are to be lauded. Now, you may not agree all the time, but for the most part, we do. Laura Loomer years ago said, this is important, she was talking about Trump. And it was, I don't know when it was per se, but it was, she said today, I forget when this was, she says, Nikki Haley went on CNBC and called for the U.S. to bomb Iran. This is Laura Loomer. She says, Nikki Haley wants more war in the Middle East, which means more dead U.S. soldiers. The only person who has proven that he won't create more wars is Donald Trump. Donald Trump is the pro-peace candidate. This is what Laura Loomer said, which is fantastic. 100%. Today, it's exactly the opposite. Exactly the opposite. Why do you think that is? What happened? You're going to be seeing this left and right and back and forth. We have to do something, my friends. We have to recognize the fact that we stand for something. And the first thing is this. Number one, when it comes to war, if this country is ever threatened, if somebody wants to hurt our country, hurt us, we will fight back mightily. And you won't need nobody will get in the way of this. But you must pose a real and a present and an actual threat to this country. That's number one. Number two, America first. Not out of any kind of exclusive ideology, but just the idea that we are not going to allow people to waste our time. We're not going to have people waste our time by taking our eye off the ball. There's a lot of things that can be done. There's a lot of issues that are of interest and we might want to look at, but ultimately, we have to go back and ask ourselves, are we keeping an eye on the ball? What are you the most dissatisfied with in terms of how we kind of drifted? It is, to me, unconscionable that we have yet to figure out what happened regarding Jeffrey Epstein. I mean this. It is to me unconscionable, unbelievable, beyond unbelievable that we have forgotten what that was about. It's very simple. There's not a lot. It's not the most complicated thing in the world. That's number one. Number two, I can't believe Kash Patel, Dan Bongino, even Pam Bondi. Pam Bondi just kind of, I think she was kind of spooked. She came out really hard and she said, remember, she said, I have seen the files. And the files have been the most horrible, the most, you cannot believe how horrible. I have seen Kate. Remember that? Well, what happened? Went away. And everybody knows there's a 3-day rule. After 3 days, people will forget everything. What happened to that? What about the JFK files? We were just so gung-ho at first. It's always that way whenever there's a new administration. Oh, we're gung-ho, we're going to go this. Bobby Kennedy went crazy. Bobby Kennedy with his methylene blue. Bobby Kennedy with his push-ups. Bobby Kennedy, we're going to get to this problem, anti-vaxxer, and we're going to have these guys, and Fauci and this and Fauci. Nothing. I think we're a little bit about some dyes or maybe nothing. There have been no arrests at all, save for 3 or so state judges. And those cases are probably. What happened to our momentum? Where is this? Where is our wrath? Where? What happened to the wall? The president can pick up the phone and tell Fox News. Fox News just does whatever he says. And say, I want you to cover. Look how we've done. Where is the wall? Christian Janus says, our dear friend says, Russia's Dmitry Medvedev says a number of countries are ready to directly supply Iran with their own nuclear warheads. Yep, as we said, that's correct. How about that? Let me ask you a question. Where is the wall? Where? I hope you saw my piece with the great Charles Ortel. We talked about the Clinton administration. Nothing happened with them. They're still prime for a prosecution. So what I'm saying is, what are we doing? And I'm going to say something right now, which you might think is the most petty. You might say, this is the silliest thing you've ever said. I believe in appearances and looks, and I believe in stagecraft. When the president sat in the whatever room, the situation room or whatever, wearing the MAGA hat with a suit inside, I know people are going to say, so what? It's not the end of the world. Whoever thought of those optics wasn't paying attention. Susie Wiles also looks like she wishes she could be anywhere on the planet, but it wasn't done well. Do you remember a while back, there was the case. This was so interesting. And I made such a stink over this because it was so terrific. Do you remember the time when they were in the situation room? And they were theoretically watching a live screen or a lifetime event of Osama Bin Laden being dispatched. Do you remember this? Do you? Remember this one? Remember this picture? And there was this, how do I say this? There was this incredible scene, and it was Obama had a jacket on, like a windbreaker. He was sitting in the back, bad optics. You had Biden in the front. Hillary Clinton was covering her mouth like she was smelling her hand or she was holding back a gasp, ostensibly. You had a young lady in the back. I don't know who she was. It looks like she walked in from she was standing there next to, I think it was Mike Mullen, the admiral. And they were telling you that they were watching Bin Laden being hit by SEAL Team 6 or whatever it was. Remember that one? This was the story. Poor optics, terrible optics. Again, the president, Obama, was in the back, kind of like a little boy, looking down, while Biden was in the front with Hillary Clinton. Again, bad. Optics. Go for optics. Kennedy loved optics. Kennedy was the one who always said he wouldn't wear a hat. He wouldn't do this. I mean, he cared because he came from his father, Joe Kennedy, who owned a bunch of movie studios, or a movie studio, And they had the best camera people around. Remember the first debate. Okay. Trump cannot wear Make America Great, this red campaign hat, when he is theoretically ordering what could very well be the death of human beings via bombing. We're at war, and he's wearing a campaign hat. Make America Great. No. Nixon wouldn't wear one that said Nixon's the one. You know, he wouldn't do this. This is the stuff that makes you wonder who's watching the show. But going back to the story, Leon Panetta told the story years later that when they were watching this event, theoretically watching the screen as Obama breathed his last gasp, his last whatever, he said the helmet cam, the live feed was down. They saw nothing. He explained to people, he actually admitted to the world that what they were doing was pretend. There was no actual event. Do you hear what I'm saying? There was no event. None. They were pretending. But it never got out. But Panetta was as clear as day. The president has to worry about optics. He's got to look at the way things seem, the way things act. He's got to be more careful and more attentive. You must look serious, fatherly, like a general. You wear that on a golf course. He wears that hat to play golf. I know you're not going to understand that. I know people are going to say, oh, it's nitpicky. President has to think about every single thing. This is a man who cares about image and the name of the side of his planes and his buildings and Trump and Trump. You can't do this. You can't have that. And we've got to go back to the basics of love, I think, as Lukenbach, Texas, saying. What about the border? What about somebody being arrested? We have to shift domestically. America doesn't care about Iran. America gets a hard on every now and then if there's some kind of a bomb or something. They love that. Make the dream great again says, that's what I wanted to call in and say yesternight, I think. Okay, well, thank you, sir. The thing which is the most important, thing which is so critical, is to recognize these things and recognize what the president really has to do, and to bring out people like Bobby Kennedy to remind people, this is what I stood for. This is what the president stood for. Make some waves. He basically told Big Pharma, nothing's changed. Go ahead. They're going to do something again. I'm telling you, we have to pivot and shift towards domestic. We don't care about this. A wall, arrest somebody, crime, indictments, whatever you want to do about Epstein, but you have egg on your face. You promised all this and it didn't happen. It didn't come through. And they're looking at you and they're saying, this guy's full of shit. He's full of shit. That's what people are saying. Nobody's going to believe us. Nothing. The left has fought every single thing. Even when they wanted to dismiss the indictment against Eric Adams, the mayor of New York, they fought it. They fight everything. What do we do? Nothing. Who are we going after? Nothing. That fellow from Colombia, whoever this, I forget his name, he's back. He's released. He went right back to protesting. Okay, fine. I've got some different thoughts on the whole protesting idea. Mr. President, I don't know who's advising you. Tell Bibi, that's it. We satisfied the deal. That's it. We satisfied the debt. Go away. We're not your Luca Brasi anymore. We're not going to do any more of this. That's it. You have to go back and you've got to figure out Gaza. No more weapons, no more bombing, no more death, no more destruction, no more. We don't have the attention on our own firepower, our own missile base. We're not going to do this anymore. America doesn't care about this. You've got to think about midterms. You've got to think about midterms. I can't say this enough to you. Now, let me tell you what I can say to you. July the 19th, join me at the Cutting Room in New York City. You have the link right here, the link of how you can join us. It's going to be a fun-filled night of frolic and whatever you want to call it. And it's not stand-up. I hate that. It's a chance for us to be out and us to speak and you and I to share Q&A. It's like nothing anybody else does. Never before have we ever needed this. We are looking at the future. And every time I think, okay, things are looking pretty good now. I don't know. I think we were derailed by this. BB derailed us. The momentum, everything was going great, chugging along, and we stopped to do this business with Iran. I don't get it. No more, Mr. President. No more. Pay attention to us. We feel neglected, sir. We feel neglected. It is that simple. Also, follow Mrs. L at Lynn's Warriors. Her pieces are fantastic. Have you heard about what's going on with Chat and Saturn? Do you know what that is? 2 apps every parent must understand. Big tech is running roughshod. And the target is your children. Their innocence, their minds, and their attention. It's like a war you can't believe. And nobody's talking about it. She's talking about it, okay? So Lynn's Warriors, also follow her on Facebook. Facebook to an extent. But on X at Lynn's Warriors. Christian, by the way, says, does Bobby Yahoo still have cards to play if other nations give Iran nukes? Trump can't dismiss him? Dismiss him? He didn't dismiss him from what? They're going to give these people other nukes. What do you want to do? You want to go after Russia? BB, is that what you want to do? I don't think so. You want to do that? Make the Dream says, you make it to the bank yet this morning. You make it to the bank yet this morning. Not sure what that means, but thank you. I don't know what that means. Take it to the bank, baby? Again, I don't know, but thank you. Also, make sure you subscribe to Lionel Nation right here. 80% of the people who watch us aren't subscribed. Or they're unsubscribed. The thing that makes us important is for you to like this video. That's what changes it. I would love to. I will match our show with anyone out there. Anybody. Debate, whatever you want to talk. I don't know when we're going to be debating. But ours is a different story. The caller yesternight. The call. You mean on WABC? Of the bank? I don't know what you mean. Again, the check. I don't know, but thank you. By the way, listen on WABC. 1 to 5 a.m. Eastern time. Overnights. It's just a cacophony of people calling. Yonkers. Okay. Again, I don't know because I thank you, but people don't know what you're talking about, and we can chat, and I thank you very much for that. But there was somebody who talked about checks and that sort of thing. Anyway, but thank you for that. But follow this because remember, I can't talk to AM audiences like I can you. I can't. There's no. I think in many respects, prototypical talk radio is in lockstep with the Fox News agenda. And I mean that. I don't understand it. I think some people love war. They feel that war is ipso facto good and noble and great, whereas I don't. Okay? You got that? Good. All right, my friends, thank you for this. Thank you for being a part of this all. Again, I just sent out also an email. It's like a newsletter, so to speak. Join up. And people will find it. You have no idea when I hear people say, don't you understand? They called for our death. So what? They think that that is the reason to attack somebody. And that they think that whenever somebody might be developing something, you don't bomb them. We did this with weapons of mass destruction. We don't learn anything. We don't learn anything. That's what blows my mind. But you'll learn because you're smart and you know what's going on. Thank you, my friends. Have a great and a glorious day. I thank you so much for being a part of this. Make sure you're subscribed. We'll see you later. And until we meet again, my friends, remember this: the monkey's dead. The show's over, Sue. Let me stop before I forget. Excuse me. Let me thank. Hang on a minute. Let me thank our dear friends. Let me thank, of course. Yes, make the dream great. Christian, thank you. Bradley Oplin, thank you. Sal Angelo, thank you. Yes, and thank you for listening. All right, my friends, that's it. Have a great and glorious day. And now, remember, monkey's dead. Show's over. Sue ya. That.